Guys, this is Cheyenne again from HZad Education. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the CELPIP listening and mention some useful tips and tricks regarding that. First of all, I want to mention that it's very different from IELTS if you are doing IELTS and you're considering CELPIP. In IELTS, you have the questions in front of you while you are listening. In CELPIP, you don't have that luxury. Instead, the questions come after you listen. Hence, while you're listening, you have to rely on two things in CELPIP. One is your memory, and the second is your notes. Because while you listen, you won't remember all of it. So you have to rely on those two things to remember what you listened while you're answering the questions. Okay, so let's talk about each part of CELPIP individually because there are 6 parts in the listening, and we can't say that all of them have the same strategy. They have different strategies. For example, parts. Actually, sorry, let me mention this before. Part 1 is the easiest, part 6 is the hardest, so the difficulty level increases as you go up in the parts. Okay, now what you should do from parts 1 to 3 is don't write down anything. It's a common mistake, we feel like we need to make more effort and write down as much notes as we can because we have to, we have to do something. We can't just sit and listen. But that's exactly what you should be doing, that you should sit and listen because um, it becomes a problem when you are listening and taking notes. You probably won't listen properly because it's hard to multitask, right? So the most important thing in parts 1 to 3 is just listen, don't take notes, and just understand the topic. The reason it is good enough to do that is because parts 1, 2, and 3 are not that long. Okay, so the problem of retaining information, like when you listen and you might forget some things, that problem will not happen because the listening length, the audio length in those parts is less. So just focus on listening, focus on understanding what people are talking about, and that will be good enough to not only answer the questions but also remember what they talked about. I would recommend though, keep the pen in your hands and a paper in front of you, just in case they mention something that you might not remember. Let's say they mention an address, or they give you the name of someone, or they're giving you directions like turn right, turn left. So those kind of things you might forget. That's where you might want to take notes. However, mostly try to just listen. Okay, let's go to part 4. Part 4 is where it becomes long. At this point, the human mind cannot retain all the information there. This is where you should start taking notes. Now, is it contradictory to what I said earlier? Yeah, I said that you shouldn't take notes and listen, but in this part, from parts 4 on and onwards, you gotta take notes because it's impossible to remember everything. So here we need to work on our multitasking skills. We need to make sure that we can listen and write at the same time. Um, the thing I've noticed with my students who get a 10 or more in CELPIP listening, they always say that at the end of the listening exam, their hands are tired after writing lots, right? So that shows you something. That shows you that if you write more, you have a better chance of success. Because think about it, if you have literally written down everything that they're saying and then the questions are presented to you, you would know exactly the answer of every question because you have written that whole speech down, right? So you want to increase your you want to fasten your handwriting skills, and at the same time listening at the same time, right? Because CELPIP is also different in IELTS in this way that they are not just going to ask you which option was said, but they will also ask you the feelings. They would say, was this person positive, or what was her impression, or how does Bob feel about this thing in this topic, right? So we got to listen and understand the feelings of people as well. There's one thing you can do. If you, of course, we cannot write everything that they're saying, so we should make pictures. So if you can make some pictures and notes at the same time, it's gonna help you write and jot down most of the things that they're saying. Here's what I mean. Let's say they're saying that you have to turn left and go 1 kilometer down the street, and also you will see a big ice cream shop there with a lot of people smiling. From there, turn right. Imagine writing all of this down. It's going to take you lots of time, and you might probably not write all of this down. But instead of this, if you just make a picture of a road where you turned left you put just the 1 kilometer sign there, just write down 1 km. And then when you have to turn right, just make a square there and just write down ice cream shop. Put a smiling face there because I said that there will be smiling people. So you can make pictures and you don't have to write that there are smiling people and there's an ice cream shop. No, just make those pictures. It'll be much faster. And you when you see the questions and you come back on your notes, you will exactly remember, all right, this picture shows me that 1 kilometer and then I turn right and then there's this ice cream shop and smiling people. You will remember all of it. It's not like you would forget right away because even with the pictures being unclear, you just heard the listening, right? So the pictures will help you remember that, okay, this information relates to what I listened. Okay, so make pictures from parts 4 and onwards. That will help you take notes faster. Part 5 is the video. Now, in the video, the only reason they do the video is they would ask you what each person said. So simple trick, just make 3 columns because usually it's 3 people talking, right? So make 3 columns on your notes. Whoever the name, whatever the names are, Bob, Sarah, or Mike, or whatever. And in case they don't give names, sometimes they don't give names of people, then just write down green shirt, old guy, young lady, whatever. Whatever will help you remember who is who. Okay, under their columns, write down whatever they're saying, and don't write it down like just all everything in one column. For example, Bob, so for example, I don't have a paper in front of me. I do have these notes. You guys can ask me about this. I can share them via email, how to make notes. I have some pictures. So I'll put my email in the description and that'll give you a better idea. Anyway, so what you do is, let's say there are 3 columns, right? So in one column, Mike started saying something. So right at the top of this column, you write what Mike is saying. Now Sarah said something. So Sarah should be here, but don't write it here. Write it here because this is the second thing that's coming in the column. Okay, and then Bob, the third person, write down whatever he says there because this guy talked first, this guy second, and this one third. So this way, not only are you putting everybody in their respective columns, but also you are going vertically from top to bottom, and one after the other, you're writing what the other person said. Why you do this is because it tells you how the flow of the conversation was going. Because when you're gonna get a question in part 5, which is gonna say, how did this person respond to that person? You would know, okay, this person said this, and this second thing was the second part of the conversation. So this was probably how he or she responded, right? So it'll show you the flow of the conversation, what was said first, what was said next, and also the columns, the 3 columns are telling you who said what, right? So with this idea, if they ask you any questions like who said what or how did this person react, you would know that. The other thing I'll tell you in the video part is make sure you look at their appearances. It would be, let's say what they're wearing, because sometimes they ask you, what did the guy in the red shirt say? And you don't remember who was wearing the red shirt or who was wearing glasses. So check their appearance. At the same time, check their facial features too. Again, in CELPIP, they ask you how did this person feel, how did this person react, and what were their expressions. So check those out too. That's why they do a video to test that part. Okay, part 6 is again a lot of note-taking work. Part 6 is very fast. It's too long, so make sure you take lots of notes. Again, here you can make use of pictures. Draw some pictures to remember everything that they're saying because it's hard to keep up. The part 6 of CELPIP listening is where there are different opinions. Okay, so one person says this while the other person says the opposite, the third person says the opposite, and so on. The same thing happens in CELPIP reading. The last part is where there are opposite opinions or differing opinions. So what you should do is really make sure to write down the name of the person who has one opinion. Then there will be this other person who has the other opinion and the third person with another opinion and so on. So write down their names, and under their names write down whatever they believe, whatever they're saying. Then on another column write down the next person, what they are saying. Then on the third column the next one, and so on. So make different columns for different people and put their names there. And if the speaker is saying it's not the names, it's the organizations, like, Worldwide Fund believes in this, and this organization believes in this. Write down the organization's names. The reason is when you get the questions ask you in part six, what did this person say? And a lot of students forget what person said what. They get confused in the names. So make sure you have a different column for a different person saying whatever they're saying, and you would also know what the opinions are, because in each column most likely they would have different opinions. They're mostly debating in this part. Okay, so separating them, giving them names will help you remember what they said, what the argument was, and who said what when it comes to the questions. All right, so I hope all of this helps. Note taking, I'm just thinking of my final tips. Note taking is very important, picture drawing is very important, and multitasking is important too. So, among doing these strategies, practice is needed because you need to perfect two of your personal skills, which will be multitasking, and that will come with practice. So just practice more. Multitasking would be important, and then listening with understanding. For example, you don't want to just write down notes of who said what. You want to understand their tone. Are they getting mad? Are they happy? Are they a satisfied customer? Because the questions will ask you, how did this person feel? Okay, so once again, if you guys want a better idea of how to take notes, please send me an email. I'll put it in the description below, and I'll send you the notes that some of my successful students have made, whereby they have put just the relevant information, and that has helped them answer the questions. So that'll give you a good idea. So do feel free to email me. You can also visit our website, www.hzadeducation.com, for more tips and tricks. We have a blog. We post there weekly different tips regarding IELTS, CELPIP, and English exams. At the same time, you can also email me if you want a free session. We start off with a free trial, get you some really good tutors afterwards, and make sure you get a great result at the end of it. You can also subscribe here to our YouTube channel for more tips and tricks. Weekly, I'm trying to post twice a week, so hopefully I have more content for you guys. And thank you again. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or email. Thank you again, and have a good day.